This video is for homework in Mastery 2.2, adding integers. There are certain rules for adding two or more numbers with the same sign. If they have the same sign, then use the common sign in the answer. Add the absolute values of the numbers. If all the numbers are positive, the sum is positive. If all the numbers are negative, the sum will be negative. Let's look at an example. Add -2 plus -4. Okay. Well, we have -2 plus a -4. They're both the same sign, so my answer will be negative. Once I know the sign of my answer, I just take 2 plus 4 is going to be 6. Let's look at it on a number line. If I start with 0 and go to -2, and then I add a -4 to that -2, I go 1, 2, 3, 4 more places negatively, I come up with -6, which is what I found here also. Now then, the harder part, looking at them when they have different signs. To add numbers with different signs, use the sign of the number with the larger absolute value. Find the difference between the larger absolute value and the smaller absolute value. Keep the sign of the larger value and subtract. So, I have 6 plus a -8. Which one has the larger absolute value, a 6 or an 8? Well, the 8 does. So that means that my answer will be negative. Well, what's the difference between 8 and 6? 2. So my answer will be -2. In the same way, look at B. -4 plus 9. Which one has the larger absolute value, 4 or 9? Well, 9 does. Is 9 positive or negative? It's positive. So my answer is going to be positive. What's the difference between 9 and 4? They have a difference of 5. So my answer is going to be +5. For any number, if you add its opposite, you're going to get 0. What this means is if I take 7 plus a -7, I'm going to get 0. It's like I have $7 and then I have to pay somebody $7. How much do I have left in my pocket? I have $0. Or I owe somebody $7 and I'm able to pay them $7. How much do I owe them? I don't owe them anything. That's what this additive inverse property means. Let's look at some more examples where we're going to be adding several things together. Here's one. I want to take -9 plus 5 plus -3 plus 16. Okay, a lot of different things in there. Remember, addition is commutative. So let's first gather our negatives together and gather our positives together. As I've done here, I've rearranged it and put my -9 and my -3 together, and I've moved my +5 and my +16 together. That'll help me out a little bit, because now then -9 plus -3, those have the same sign, they're both negative. 9 plus 3 would be 12, so this right here would become a -12. In the same way I did that, I can do this 5 plus 16, and I get 21. So I've simplified it down much easier into a -12 plus 21. Now my question is, which one's larger, 12 or 21? Wherever I think about their absolute value. Well, the 21 is. So that means my final answer is going to be positive. What's the difference between 21 and 12? It's 9. You can do this at any point with the commutative property. Just make sure that you take your signs with you. Notice whenever I moved the 5 from here to here, I took the positive with it. And whenever I moved the 3 over, I took the negative sign with it. Make sure you do that in every case. Here, I want to evaluate negative 9 plus x plus y for x equal to negative 2 and y equal to 7. Notice that where I dropped down here, I said negative 9 plus, and then I put parentheses around the x and the y. This is going to become very helpful for you to get into a habit of. Anytime that you have a variable, put those variables in parentheses, especially when you're dealing with integers, because it will help you know what happens when you have a negative sign. My next step is to replace my x with a negative 2, replace my y with a 7. As I have done here, I've replaced the x with a negative 2 and replaced the y with a 7. Now I already have these grouped like I did in the previous problem. I can take negative 9 plus a negative 2, and that would give me a negative 11 plus 7. Which one's larger? The 11 or the 7? The 11 is, so my final answer is going to be negative. And what is 11 minus 7? It'll be 4. So my final answer is negative 4. Let's look at a word problem now. What was Microfirm Computer Sales' overall profit or loss at the end of the third quarter? That means they want us to add up the first, the second, and the third quarters. They don't ask us to do anything with this fourth quarter. So let's first look at what was their profit or loss in the first quarter. Well, they lost a lot. They're down here at negative $40,000. So I put negative 40,000 for their first quarter. Second quarter, they did better. They gained 20,000. That's a profit or positive 20,000. Third quarter is up here at positive 60,000. So that's plus another 60,000. I want to know what this all comes out to. So I'm going to take negative 40,000 plus 20,000 plus 60,000. So a negative 40,000 plus 20,000, that would give me a negative 20,000. Then a negative 20,000 plus 60,000 would give me a total profit of 40,000. Positive 40,000, profit 40,000. As I was saying in the previous video, you really have to watch your signs in these cases. Make sure that you're putting the positive and the negatives with the proper numbers, and that you carry them with you whenever you move them around or before you add or subtract. Make sure you have the proper sign with you. Adding and subtracting with positive and negative numbers is going to be something that you really have to know how to do, your positive and negatives. We do have a handout for positive and negative numbers, so if you haven't received it already, ask us. If you need help, let us know. We'll be glad to help you. And as always, good luck on your homework.